Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel, and today in this video we are going to understand about a new concept around queues and jobs, which is DLQ in short form, which is also known as dead letter queue. So the reason for a dead letter queue is, in our previous video we saw that when a job is triggered, it has a configuration so that we can retry it. There are backoff mechanisms, and then there is definitely going to be a point of failure, a situation where a job, let's say, would have consumed all the retries that was there, and then we need to do something about that job. And this pattern of dead letter queue is basically whenever you have a job which failed after all the attempts, you are not able to consume it, then you move it to a dead letter queue. Now, once it is inside a dead letter queue, there are multiple strategies that can be incorporated. For example, a job inside a dead letter queue should be retried after how much time, how many times, whether there should be a manual intervention first and then retrial, or first we do more retrials and then push it to a manual intervention. There are a lot of things that can be done. But the most important concept that I want to cover in this video is that we should have a dead letter queue or a DLQ separate queue, so that whenever our main jobs are failing, we are able to move them to a DLQ and then have a strategy around that. So if this is something which you feel is important and interests you, then let's get started and deep dive into it. So let's first understand how the dead letter queue will work. You can see the admin dashboard. I have two jobs. I had tried them earlier, and then I have in my readme file a curl call which will result in an order. Okay, some logs. What I will do over here is maybe change this to 999, and now shipping provider service, order processor, order number this, try 2, try 3 happened and it failed again. So now we can see it says, hold on a bit, it says job 7 sent to shipping provider exhausted 3 attempts and was moved to the DLQ. And there is an alert which says that DLQ depth is 3, which means there are 3 jobs and the threshold is 1. Right now we have kept it as 1. Basically on production you can potentially keep it at a number where after reaching that threshold, some developer, some admin should be looking at them. I also have this increased, as you can see, and I also have an API created where we can see the jobs. We already have this detail because you can see this is the order number 999, right? And it failed. Similarly, you can see over here as well, order number 999, the reason and the strat date. So you can do it. You can consume it in multiple ways. Not necessarily you need to run BullMQ. This is why I created this API. I'll show you. So let's now dive into the code. Close this. First, a little bit of hygiene check. So we have order queue constant, where I said that there is one more queue, which is order DLQ. So either you can have one dead letter queue for every job, or you can have a dead letter queue per type of queue. For example, over here, I have a user queue and an order queue. So in this particular case, I will have an order queue, order dead letter queue, user queue, and a user dead letter queue. Okay, so this is clear. Now I had to make some metadata changes in my job metadata. For example, now I am sending the reprocess count because you don't want to reprocess your failed jobs which are in the dead letter queue for infinite number of times. There is a good possibility even in there it is going to fail if there is something terribly wrong. So that's one change. And then these are some methods which I am using inside the service. You will come to know, but primarily this is basically with job metadata. So I am getting that with the ops, and this is get job reprocess count, which is going to be used when we are reprocessing the job from inside the dead letter queue. Okay, utility functions, they are required. Let's just go with that understanding. The next one is shipping provider service. In here, what I have done is to simulate failure, I have this environment flag, which by default is true. So in my development environment, it is always going to fail. And what it does is, after logging, if my simulate failure is true, it will log this. Where was that? There should have been a simulate failure log somewhere if I can find it. Maybe I'll create a demo of how we can find the logs as well. I mean, this is information, but I'm not able to find it. Maybe add Grafana or something. Let's see. But okay, the point is it will log this warning and it will throw this error. Simulated shipping provider failure for order, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So the service will fail. And because the service will fail, we will have a situation where the job will also fail. The order queue producer. In the producer, previously, if I show you the diff, right? Yeah, this is the diff. I have added the metadata. So with request metadata, I'm getting that ops because this is really user queue producer. If you have seen my last video, you would see that I have made that change. The same thing, because it was only done into user, I had to make this change, otherwise it wouldn't have worked. So this is one change as part of the refactoring or continuing the entire context, this request context thing to the jobs. So that's why I had to make this change. And then once those are added, I had created this interface, which is called DLQ entry data. This is the queue where I am making this entry to that job. Okay, this is the data. We have the original job ID, job name, queue name, payload, failed reason, stack trace, attempts made, first attempt, failure at, request ID, and reprocess count. Okay, so this is the interface. This is the data that will go. And now comes the DLQ service. This is where the magic is happening. Some imports. I have a max reprocess attempts. Basically, this means that even in the DLQ, this is the maximum number of times I will try. Okay. And this is the threshold after which a DLQ will maybe send an alert, send a Slack message or something like that, that our queue has a lot of failed jobs. So someone needs to look at it. Maybe something is wrong. This is my reprocess job options. And then I have these queues that are injected, the order queue, the DLQ. Now move to DLQ. This method basically takes the job, the error, and what it does is, first of all, the interface that we created, it creates a data for that. This is the shape. The job ID, job name, queue name, payload. Payload is the job data. Failed reason, that is the failed job.failed reason or error.message. Okay, we have both. Then we have the stack trace, attempts made. All these things are populated. Then I am adding this job into my dead letter queue. The dead letter queue which I have injected over here is the queue names.order DLQ. So this is what I showed you, the constant. So I have this queue and I have added that job into this dead letter queue where I have remove on complete is false and remove on fail is false. And while we do that, because we are moving it into the dead letter queue, it doesn't make sense to keep that job in the failed job bucket, because then we will have duplicates, like the same job is in the failed bucket and also in the dead letter queue. So I have this comment over here that we remove it from the queue so that it is not duplicated. Then a little bit of checks and balances, some logs, and then check depth. So what does the check depth do? It takes the DLQ job count where the status is waiting. If the depth is there, else it is 0. And then if the depth has equaled or surpassed the threshold, then we can do anything, right? So this is what we have, the check depth thing. And then these two are basically, one is the list, the URL that I was showing you. This is what the controller is calling. We will see the controller in a bit. And this is the reprocess. Okay. So the reprocess, what it does is it takes the job ID. It checks whether we get that job or not. DLQ entry not found, things like that. If it finds that thing, it takes the entry. If the max process count has exceeded, then we say DLQ has already reprocessed, so we cannot try that out. But if it is not the case, Then what we do is we again get the metadata, and this time we again add it to the order queue and we remove it from the DL queue. So the retries, right? This is the reprocess. So when we are doing the reprocess, at that time, we are again sending it to the order queue. We are removing it from the DL queue, but we do have the, if you see over here, reprocess count, final attempt, failure at all these things. So this basically ensures that I don't have a poisoned job, which means it will not go in an infinite loop and we will continue to do that. Okay. At one point, this condition will be reached and we will stop. So we add it to the queue. We again remove it from the dead letter queue. We log that it is moved there and we are fine. Then what else? So we have the service and it has the most logic in here. And then we have the order processor. In the order processor, I have the, I'll also open it up. So the request context was not wrapped. So I did that. Okay. I have the context request ID over here so that I am able to pass it to the job. And then I have this hook, which is when this job fails, I do some checks and then finally I move it to the DL queue. So this is how, when the failure happens, when we have reached the maximum attempts, is when we move it to the dead letter queue. And that's why it moved from the failures to this dead letter queue. Okay. And then a little bit of basic handholding. So there is one URL, which is the order/DLQ, which you are looking at right now. It shows me all the orders. And then we have the ID/reprocess. This is the URL which we can call to reprocess a job if we feel that something has changed and now maybe the service is up or our code has been fixed, whatever it is, and we are ready to do a reprocess. Okay. So we have seen this. Now let's try to do a reprocess. Okay. Let me see. This is place order. This is reprocess. And in reprocess, I'll do 5. Try 2. And then job. This is added over here. Perfect. Now, what do we have in here? This is still the same. Yes. And job ID 5 is removed. And we have a new job, which is, if you remember, with the job ID 999, but the reprocess count is 1. So as I had said, where is my service? Service, DLQ service, the reprocess, right? The max reprocess count ensures that we don't have a poisoned job, which means I'm keeping a track of how many times this has been reprocessed. So for example, now if I do 6, it is bound to fail. Try 1, try 2, try 3. Perfect. Let me refresh. As you can see, we have 7, we don't have 6, but this time the reprocess count is 2. So we will try it again. Let's wait a bit. Try 2, try 3, and we will definitely have an 8, and 7 should be gone. So we have 4 and then directly 8. Now the question, what happens when we retry job number 8, right? Let's see what happened. Oh, yes. So I immediately get a message saying DLQ entry 8 has already been reprocessed 3 times. This looks like a poison pill. Investigate manually before retrying again, right? So this is where we literally stop. We say enough has happened. We have tried enough. This is not going to work. Now you have to manually intervene. And this thresholds can be anything, right? I mean, if you see, I have all of them available as configuration, so you can change it at any point of time. But the whole idea is that you should have a dead letter queue. A dead letter queue allows you to manage these things properly. You have a business logic, you have an organizational control over failed jobs, and based on that you can retry and do all of the stuff. And yeah, if you are dealing with very mission critical jobs, a DLQ is very important, and that's why I wanted to cover this concept with you. Let me know what you think about dead letter queues. Have you used them? If yes, do share your comments on what situations you have used them. What was the retry mechanism? How long where your thresholds, things like that, so that others are able to know about it as well. And if it is new and if you have learned something, I would request you to give a thumbs up on the video. And if you have been watching the video so far, why don't you hit the subscribe button, because your subscriptions help me keep getting motivated and come up with more such content. Thank you. See you soon.